All right, so this is going to be our sort of recap episode for the Second Time's the Charm campaign, previously known as the Shameless Six. Here I have with me are Hjorn the Goliath Paladin and Azoni the Wood Elf Druid.
Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy.
That's my greeting. That's how I greet people.
That's true. You do say howdy a lot, but it's just funny that you just said howdy. And it just doesn't. Usually there's like a partner after that, but like howdy partner sort of thing. But you know what? It's just howdy. All right. Well,
he's making new waves.
Now we have quite a bit to recap here.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Because we are like we're about like 2.5 months into this campaign.
Are you sure? I feel like it's been longer.
I did take like a month. I did take like a month-long break.
Okay.
Yeah, we did take a break for a bit. Then we came back and we're like, hey, we're gonna start a podcast.
Did we start this before Corona hit?
Yeah. No. We started this during.
Okay.
We started this in the beginning of the summer.
Oh yeah. I remember. Okay.
Yeah. So where it all started is not again. These were the first people to start in Belden. Started in Belden. The group sort of walked around a bit. They dealt with an incursion. They helped deal with some dryads they settled a dispute between the dryads and the locals. The dryads didn't like how the local woodcutters were taking out a large chunk of the nearby forest, and they solved that diplomatically after meeting the leader of the dryads. Afterwards, the party then traveled to Light Tower, which is a nearby very large city. After fighting some dead plants along the way, the party made it safely there. Afterwards, after walking around a bit, they met Hjorn. After he got stolen from by a street thief.
Yup.
Yeah, stole
taking my money.
Yeah, stole all of his money, and the party helped Hjorn and caught up to the thief to get his money back. However, the thief seemed to be slippery for a little bit, as the thief also then stole several of the party's coin pouches, and then they promptly knocked her out with magic. So
and
yeah, they caught up
to torture.
A bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of torture involved. It was definitely something.
Bag of devouring, chewing. A little
bit
nervous.
Yeah, it wasn't like something that should be performed in an alleyway, but it was. They did that. Then they introduced. Well, the thief sort of introduced themselves as Rory, as this sort of like demon thief girl, and she sort of worked for a crime boss there. The crime boss found the group and sort of rescued the thief with his intimidating presence, just making the party back off. And then the crime boss sort of took Rory with him. Afterwards, the party sort of felt sorry. Not really, just Dean.
Yeah, just Dean. Dean. At this point, I think this was the point that Dean achieved his simp status.
Oh yeah, just for clarification, at this point the party consisted of Hjorn, the Goliath Paladin, Dean, the human Tempest Cleric, Oni, the wild magic sorcerer, and
Alman.
I accidentally left. But anyway, and Alman, right? Alman, the
Hexblade Warlock Genasi.
Yeah.
I think that was everybody.
I think that
at that point.
Everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that was basically everybody at that point. And Dean started simping for Rory.
He was charmed a couple of times.
Yeah, and, Rory used her natural. Rory used her natural abilities a few times to charm Dean,
and then Dean sort of started simping for her after that.
And Dean sort of due to the simping nature, sort of hired Rory to help the group with a sort of case that they had. They got a job where there was something kidnapping children in the streets of Light Tower at night, and they had to figure out what it was and stop it. The group hired Rory to help with them, and as the party didn't really know the streets of Light Tower all that well, and Rory sort of showed them around a bit. Afterwards, also helping them with the quest. They went to a house where where the most recent child had been taken and had to deal with a grief-stricken father, and how they figured
grief-stricken father and his goat.
Yeah. So how they figured out what happened was
Hjorn talked to the father's goat.
Yeah, it was. Hey, there was a goat outside. And he wielded some pretty good information. So
yeah, you cast speak with animals.
No reason for goats to lie. So,
and they figured out that there was just this large blue man that came in the night, opened the window, and snatched the kid. And the goat didn't do anything about it because he was tired. It was not a very nice goat, but
I don't think the goat could have done much. To be honest here.
They tracked the
Big blue man down into the sewers of Light Tower, where they walked around, and they found an Oni, like an actual Oni, not Oni the wild magic sorcerer, but an actual Oni. And it was like they found like this altar underneath in some sort of chamber, and it was like sacrificing kids to a dark god. It was just a terrible situation. Yeah, not that pleasant.
Yeah, no, they found the altar, and
The Oni wasn't there at the time.
but then they heard the Oni come back, and it cast sleep on the party, and they didn't. Then they all fell asleep. They woke up tied up and manacled, and none of their equipment off to the other side of the room. And the Oni sort of did a whole monologue about how like sacrifice blah 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 cultist shit. Right? I don't remember. It's been a while. But after he was going to sacrifice Almond, and then, however, Rory was not captured. She had cast invisibility on herself, as she was revealed to be an arcane trickster. And she managed to pick the locks of the manacles and get the party free. And then a battle ensued. It was a pretty tough fight with just a bunch of level 3s against a challenge rating 7 monster, but it was still pretty good. You guys would like surrounded it and like kept it from going anywhere after you kept wailing on it. It was
Is that the spider thing?
Oh, I completely forgot about the spider thing.
Yeah, that was
guys...
the scariest part. The Oni was kind of easy peasy, light work.
Oni was a fight, but the phase spider, almost killed, like practically killed Oni. Like it got a critical hit, and Oni should have died, but his wild magic saved him.
The character Oni, to clarify.
It was a very confusing first couple of sessions because we're like, all right, Oni. Oh, do you mean like the character or the monster? Like the monster. Like, oh, okay. This is very confusing. The character Oni should have died, but his wild magic saved him because it granted him temporary HP, just enough to just get knocked unconscious and not insta-die. And they killed the spider, though, after they sort of understood what it was doing, which was teleporting, like blinking in and out sort of thing. They took it down after that quite easily, after it almost killed Oni. Afterwards, they fought the actual Oni, like the monster. They won.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Then they received a reward from the city.
And we found one of the dragon daggers there, right?
Oh yeah. The Oni, the monster Oni was using a special dagger that the party had found, like a cursed dagger to sacrifice the kids, and the group had taken it with them after dealing with a curse. It was the group just sort of tried to just sort of like left it after they
Dean was the first one to pick it up. He succeeded his saving throw.
Then gave it to Oni.
Oni succeeded his saving throw, and neither of them were cursed. It was fine. They got the reward, and then Dean sort of got the party to help break Rory out of her servitude to the crime boss by blowing up a tavern.
Yeah.
They're not allowed in Light Tower anymore. Well, they don't know that.
For multiple reasons.
For multiple reasons. I'm purposely skipping over that night where
You
you
just seduced
Yeah,
everything in a
sure.
brothel. You tried to seduce everything in a brothel
because it was not a good time. But needless to say, there's a reason why we constantly make the joke of Hjorn not being a person you want to leave women around.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. He's done
Yeah.
some questionable things because of low seduction rolls, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But after they had blown up the tavern, the party completely dipped. Like, as soon as it blew up, they're like, we're out of here. And they just fucking ran. Like, they didn't stop or anything. Nobody saw them or anything do it. It's just the crime boss. But they just ran. They wanted to get the fuck out of there. So they did. And they traveled their way back to Light Tower. Not to Light Tower, to Belden. And they found that it was under siege by a bunch of the plant monsters that had attacked them earlier on their way to Light Tower. So they ran into the forest to stop a curse. They found the hag that I forget, a hag which was a character from Oni's backstory, the player character, not the monster. And there was a fight between two plant monsters, two shambling mounds that the hag controlled, and the party. It was a pretty tough fight, actually. Especially seeing as you guys were I think you guys were level 4 at the time. No, you guys were level 3. You leveled up to level 4 after this, yeah.
Yeah.
After this encounter, you guys leveled up. But it was a tough fight. Like, people were going down. It was a tough fight, but
their party managed to get through after
Oni's wild magic made him cast a level 9 fireball.
Yeah.
that was good. That was cool. But now that sort of made Oni get a god complex after that. Now he just thinks he's invincible.
True.
Yeah, after that he just sort of thinks, I'll just level 9 fireball something, but he can't unless it's just random. Which I think is absolutely hilarious. Because at any point he could just you know what, we'll be fine, and then he'll just kill himself accidentally. Anyway, afterwards the party. So they stopped the curse on the forest. They saved the sort of archdryad of that forest that lived there. Hjorn got to meet her, sort of thing. They went back to Belden, and they figured out that the thief Rory used to live in Belden with her parents who ran a brothel, and she ran away because she didn't want to live in a brothel. It was a couple moments. The party then had sort of talked to Cyan, the town master, and
Totally a normal town master. Wink, wink.
Definitely. He's a wizard, and he introduced them to a secret bar underneath the town known as Liches and Bitches.
Good times have been had at Liches.
Good time, yeah. I think after this session, after that session, the group sort of went around, sort of started buying stuff, sort of to prepare for their next journey. And that was when Hjorn heard a call from the Archdryad to go into the woods and help something. Wait, no, did we do the statue thing first? Was Zoni there for the statue?
Oh, the statue thing was before this.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, first off,
They did some shopping, and they went into the woods to help the Archdryad with something.
and after walking through the wood for a bit, they accidentally stumbled into the Shadowfell, where they found a mysterious old abandoned church. and they found a single statue in the middle, where there were just a bunch of crumpled bodies on the ground with some sort of puzzle phrase that I forget, and they did everything.
Yeah, it was basically a prophecy where everything goes wrong and everybody dies in I think 5 specific steps, and we didn't pay much attention to what those steps were, and so when we were trying to figure out ideas of what to do, we accidentally followed all 5 steps in succession.
in the exact order.
Yeah. It did not end well. The statue ended up coming to life, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we just ran.
No. You tried to. You guys actually trapped it back in again.
Oh yeah. Forgot.
Because the actual solution, because the circle that it was trapped in was surrounded by a bunch of people with their skulls on backwards, right? And so the solution was to turn the skulls back, and that was the first thing that they proposed, but they didn't do it. They're like, hey, what if we turn the skulls around? And they're like, nah, it can't be that simple. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the statue, what happened? I forgot what happened. Oh,
you didn't. There was a second one, the second statue you trapped. The other one got away.
Yeah, and then there's a statue loose in the world, tormenting people somewhere probably. We'll probably have to address that later.
Yeah, at some point there's a statue that you guys have to deal with. And then afterwards, then the party went shopping after getting some money from
A secret stash. A secret bandit stash they found in the ground.
And then that's when Hjorn went and met Izoni after hearing another call from the Archdryad of that forest, and heading off to go aid her in fighting and getting 2 owl bears out of the woods that were causing havoc among the fey creatures. That was a fight. That was
it was
a fight.
It was brutal.
It was quite brutal. Because you were like level 5, I think, at this point.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because you had extra attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you could attack twice.
Yeah, so at this point, you were level 5 at this point. And it was just Izoni and Hjorn against these 2 owlbears, and it was rough. Like, eventually, after. Yeah, both of you almost died.
But it started off pretty rough, and then eventually sort of got the hang of it once.
And then all men came to the rescue. He's like, hey, I'm here to help.
But then,
he just sort of served as a kind of distraction.
Yeah.
He didn't do much.
We killed the owlbears, harvested meat, and found Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton.
That owlbear that we kept.
Yeah, there was like a super move where Izoni sort of like lifted an owlbear by sticking his staff up their throat and slamming him down onto a spike growth spell. Yeah, then afterwards they found Hamilton, like this little owlbear cub that they've since kept and started like raising as their own, being terrible parents.
Wow, I guess.
So far, he has eaten several dogs. Like, just people's dogs. Because they travel to towns, they travel to a town, they just completely leave him unattended.
Well, it's not our fault, okay? I mean, why are people leaving their dogs all over the place?
I don't even think you don't think that you don't know if he like goes into people's houses and snatches them or anything.
Oh, I mean, true. Maybe Hamilton's. I'd be proud of Hamilton if he was sneaking into people's houses.
I really would.
I'd be proud if he was sneaking into people's houses and murdering household pets. I would be so proud of my boy. He's such a good boy.
My boy Hamilton.
His own's not exactly a beacon of morality. I wield
yeah,
an army of zombies, well, skeletons, undead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
After the whole finding Hamilton, the group sort of.
What was your whole idea for heading to Fort Priskin? I completely forgot.
I think we had somebody wanting us to deliver something.
No, that was going from
No.
Fort Priskin back to Belden.
Didn't we go there to look for the hag to get the orb?
Oh
from
yeah,
Zion?
you guys
Oh,
went
yeah.
to. Oh yeah, the hag stole an item from Zion, and during the whole plant siege, and Zion was like, "Hey, can you go get this? I'll give you these magic items if you help me." And then he gave them the magic items, and then they went to go get the hag. They traveled. They followed the they tracked the hag down to the haunted caves of Fort Priskin after fighting some giants. Fighting those giants were a great encounter, in my opinion. Like, everybody felt like a badass. Everybody had their. Except for Oni, he just kept getting punched in the face by rocks.
Yeah, those rocks were devastating. We had a horse named Valkyrie, and it was a fatality from rocks being tossed.
Yeah, Valkyrie is now in Valhalla. But yeah, they fought these 3 giants. I forget their names, but they each had names because I knew that this encounter would be like a good enough one to actually have names. But they were like, they all had stupid names that began with G, like Jerry, but they were like giant names. So like Glock or Ginky or something like that.
I'm gonna try to remember. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, but they all had names, and they were all. It was a good encounter. Afterwards, I think you guys leveled up. You definitely leveled up after that encounter. Yeah. Yeah, you guys definitely leveled up after that encounter.
Yeah, we did.
I think you guys were level 6 then. Then
Pretty
you guys went into Fort Priskin, did some stuff there.
Got Candela.
Yeah, I got the elephant. Oh, and I forgot, on the way before you got to the giants, you got jumped by bandits, who then you completely annihilated, and then stole their money. And stole their money. You reverse bandited them, and you took. And Hjorn got like this massive chest full of gems. Rory got this massive chest full of gold because she's been like stealing everybody's money at this point. Like, throughout the entire thing, people are like, "Oh, sure, I'll just pay for this," and then they go and their coin pouch is gone, and Rory has like a new set of gloves or something.
I got the second dragon dagger.
Oh yeah, and there was they found a dagger exactly like the one the Oni had in the bandit's stash. Another cursed dagger. They succeeded the saving throw. They were fine, and now Zoni has one too.
Yep.
Then they traveled to Fort Priskin. They did some stuff there. They talked to some people, figured out what the town's all like. It's like this dwarven sort of very hardy town. Like, most things are hewn out of the mountain. The town has like massive stone walls. It's a town that's been attacked by giants many times. And so they have very high walls and very good defenses, but not a lot of magic except for the forge. Hjorn sort of took the gems he got from the bandits and took them to a jeweler to get them priced so that he could get as much money as he could for them. However, that would have taken some time, and during that time, the party bought an elephant and armored it.
We named it Candela.
Yeah,
we got a carriage.
They got a carriage. Yeah, carriage.
And yeah,
armor. They got a war elephant.
Oh, a fully decked out war elephant for our travels.
Yeah, and afterwards they traveled into the haunted caves in search of the hag. They dealt with some terrifying nightmares during their first night in there. Many people dealing with the worst fears that they've ever seen or heard, and also discovered that Rory has a fear of lightning. Yeah, because and then Dean proceeded to cast Call Lightning on Oni, which
And
didn't
that's
help
up
the
with that.
situation. It was a huge thing. The party had some conflict with each other after Oni sort of flipped off Dean's god.
With a giant illusion.
With a giant illusionary middle finger, just straight up to Thor, just like fuck you, Thor, and then he got zapped by lightning.
Took him out.
Yeah, Dean was like, "No, I'm not having any of that." And during that night, the party had terrible nightmares, and it just wasn't a good time for any of them. People had either had like nightmares of losing things, making deals with people that they never would, dying. There was it was just a big old thing. Some of them even saw perhaps maybe prophecies, but they weren't sure.
Oh, mine.
Yeah, yours was freaky.
Mine was pretty
I
weird
broke
too.
my arm. I woke up, my arm was just shattered.
Oh yeah, your arm was broken.
My own arm.
Was
Yeah,
this the one where I had the dream that I died, or where
Yeah.
I almost died?
Where you
Yeah.
you had the dream where you died and then your god like abandoned you.
Yeah, and ever since then, Hjorn has been a bit confused because he is an Oath of the Ancients paladin. He has a nature god, but he is now confused.
Yeah.
He's only found himself part of the zombie army, but he wasn't control himself because, as was revealed, his Oni is dead. His Oni died.
Izoni is an undead creature.
His Oni is undead. And so
Yeah.
that like nightmare sequence just brought out the worst. Because what he hates most is in this moment now that he knows he's dead, he doesn't want to be humanity. That's all he has left.
Yeah, it was that was a very heavy session for everyone. That was a very
Yeah.
very intense and dark and heavy session. Immediately after, they just squashed a shit ton of spiders with their elephant. It was the first time they took their elephant into combat, and this elephant just mowed through like 13 spiders. How many were there? There were a lot.
Something like that. It was a
There
lot.
was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah. And afterwards, they took a break. Then some party members sort of. Oh wait, Farhim was still here. Farhim was still a part of the party at this point. He's like a little gnome artificer that made potions and stuff. And he hasn't been helpful at all. He hasn't been. He's the most helpful thing he's done up until this point is cast Cure Wounds during the fighting when they fought the Shambling Mountain. They cast Cure Wounds on Oni, who didn't even need it. So he hasn't been useful up until this at all at this point. But there were scheduling issues, so Farhim didn't make it to this session. And the party had to stop and leave Candela on the road as they traveled off the road to try and get to the hag's dwelling. They came across these creatures known as woodwoads, which proved to be a formidable foe. And Oni wasn't there this session either, so they didn't have.
we fight the shambling mounds first, the second set of shambling mounds, because I put down my 40 feet of the spike growth, and they just shredded through all of it.
Yeah,
I think that was our hardest fight ever.
The first wave of enemies was like 2 shambling mounds, which they just spike growth, and then just kept just shooting at them at range while they were stuck in the spike growth. Because shambling mounds are not very fast, and spike growth makes them move at half speed while taking damage every single time they move. So it just shredded through these guys. After they traveled a bit further, they found these woodwoads, and woodwoads, these guys were pretty tough. They're like little.
I think that was the hardest fight we've ever had.
Yeah, they're like
One of them teleported behind me and almost took me out in just one turn.
Yeah, because they can.
Teleport through trees.
Yeah, they're like little tree guys that with like
Magic clubs and shields, and they have a pretty high AC.
they can heal. They can regenerate themselves. They have resistance to piercing and bludgeoning damage. They were like a really tough enemy, and there were like a lot of them. But eventually, and they got their asses handed to them. Like the party had to retreat, and then afterwards, next session, they came back with Oni because Oni was able to make it to the session, but not was Farhim able to make it? Yeah, oh yeah, Gnome Rocket.
Yep, Gnome Rocket.
Gnome Rocket, yeah. Farhim made it to
No, they did the Gnome Rocket last session.
Yeah, 'cause it was
whatever.
gonna,
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
yeah. So Farhim did the Gnome Rocket, which is a strategy we have done
Where he casts Reduce on himself because he's a gnome. He's already tiny.
and then he casts Catapult on himself, where he uses himself as the projectile, and he just yeeted himself at a shambling mound, and it did
And then
okay.
blew himself up.
And then blew himself up. It wasn't a very good strategy, but it was very funny.
It was a very memorable strategy.
It wasn't good, but it will be told throughout the ages. Yeah, so after the Woodwood fight, the party retreated and regrouped. During that fight, there was this one Woodwood in particular that was being like treating Hjorn like an equal, and was fighting with honor, sort of.
Definitely, he was fighting with honor. He helped me up.
Yeah, he helped you up after he saw everybody was retreating. And then afterwards, the group then got Oni, came back, and immediately fireballed all of them. Because fire was their weakness, and they didn't have any fire without Oni. And Oni wasn't there last session, so they didn't do too hot. But this time, they completely wiped the floor with them. However, they did wake up. They did heal one Woodwood. It was the honorable one, and they healed him just so that Hjorn could actually have like an honorable one-on-one fight with him. Hjorn proved victorious, but it was a close fight.
Good man.
Yeah, it was a good man, and you figured out that the Woodwoads were actually humans and people that were sent into the woods as scouts, and
Yeah,
that
and then turned into Woodwoods. Very sad.
that were turned into Woodwoads by the hag, and they were forced to work for her. You learned that the Woodwoad that was being honorable used to be the either fiance or husband of the Fort Priskin's priestess, Mirren, I think her name was Myrna.
The one Dean's working with now.
Yeah, Dean is working with her now. Myrna, so was the fiance of Myrna, and it was sort of a tough thing. The Woodwood gave some information that would be helpful in the hag fight, like telling them where to go. The party then got to the hag.
And it is important to note that at this point we did have another new player who was Aldrin.
He was like this 15-year-old monk kid who was a Kensei monk, and he was just traveling the world trying to seek a cure, like sort of another magic user, a magic user to help cure his parents of like a memory loss, I think.
Yeah.
False memories.
Oh yeah.
Memories that were implanted by like, some other evil user that made his parents think he was dead and that he was.
Basically, Aldrin had problems.
Yeah. Aldrin had problems, and he was just a kid, right? And this hag fight was tough. It was There was a long string of tough encounters, honestly. Like most of these encounters have been like either tough or just ridiculously easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so the list of tough encounters are the phase spider, that was the first one.
Yeah.
The first one. No, you two weren't there for that, so we won't count it. There was the phase spider, that was the first tough one. The second tough one was the shambling mounds. Third tough one was the hill giants. The fourth tough one.
Shambling mounds again.
Yeah, and the shambling mounds again, but that time it wasn't that tough. It was the wood
Well,
wolves
the
that were
first
tough.
one was tough.
Yeah, the first shambling males were tough, but I already counted that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So-
we had the hag fight, which was really
Then we had the
hard.
wood wolves and the hag fight. So that's like 5 really tough encounters, almost in a row. And the only easy encounters we've had so far are the bandits.
Oh, we also forgot the owlbears. That was tough too.
Yeah, but there's only 2 of
Yeah.
you.
True.
Got reduced.
Like the whole party wasn't there. It was just you 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that counts, but like, because if the whole party there, it probably wouldn't have been that tough.
True. Yeah. Good point.
Right.
But yeah. So we had the easy encounters. We had the bandits, and we had the spiders. And I guess the Oni counts too. Oni. So it was the Oni, the bandits, and the spiders. Those were the only 3 easy encounters we've had
Yeah.
at this point. The hag fight was. It took a long time. Like, that was the whole session.
Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
Was
Like, but it was a good fight though. Like, the hag was pointless. Like, it was a terrible final boss. It was her minions. It was her minions that were
Yeah.
annoying. Like she had all these powerful minions of shambling mounds, wood woads. Sort of the woods were sort of working against the party themselves. And
Yeah, and then
but
Aldrin, the fairly new player, the fairly new addition to the party, had the bright idea of running directly in the center of everyone, and then
Hello.
immediately got eviscerated and died.
Turned to
he
actual human paste.
yeah, he was turned into tomato paste.
Died very
It wasn't a good thing. Afterward, the party they found a bunch of kids in the hag's hut, and they sort of like rescued them. Yeah, and
Sony
they
got something that I hope I don't have to ever really use, but I was able to get a hold of the hag's like book of rituals to make the shambling mound. So,
and the woodwoods and stuff. Yeah,
You basically, Azoni sort of learned how to make those terrible plant creatures.
and
Yeah,
I got my first skeleton.
yeah,
So that
and
was the start of it all. There in the witch's hut, I got a full skeleton.
yeah, and she cast Animate Dead, and he got his first undead minion.
Boy,
We
Rex.
also retrieved the magic item Cyan requested, the orb. We found it.
And it was at this point that the death of Aldrin sort of was a big thing for Dean, and that was at this point he's like, all right, well, I'm the cleric, I'm the healer. My healing clearly wasn't enough to save this sort of 15-year-old kid, right? And actually, we did just have Dean's player just hop on to listen. So if he wants to talk about that, he's very
yes.
welcome to. Hi.
Hello, it is I, Dean. Yeah, so at this point in the story, Aldrin had taken an entire fireball to the face, died a horrific death, turned into mush. I was unable to revive him, and I decided to put Dean on the back burner. You know, he was my Tempest cleric. I really enjoyed him, but I feel like it fit the character to join the Church of Thor in the nearby city to try and learn better healing spells and stuff. And it gave me an excuse to play my current character, Jesse. But I'm sure we'll talk about him later.
Yeah, we're about to get to that. So the party sort of dug a grave for Aldrin at the hag's hut, and then headed back to the city, back to Fort Priskin, where they took the kids that they rescued to the church, and the church sort of either housed them or sent them back home. Weirdly enough, one of the children was this young Wiccan girl, like this witch. In my setting, we have witches are a race, as well as half demons, and etc. and other stuff. I'll get into it at some other point in time when I explain the setting. But weirdly enough, nobody noticed when I pointed this out, and nobody really cared. But it was after bringing all of the kids back into the city, one of the Wiccan kids, the young witch girl, had disappeared, and nobody paid any mind to it for some reason. I don't know why.
Well,
Everyone's like, "Yeah, that's normal. That's not our problem."
oops. Forgot about that. Don't remember that. But I mean, we gotta make mistakes sometime.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of mistakes.
subscribe is the trend.
Yeah, so the little witch girl disappeared. And that was when Dean decided that, you know what, I'm going to work with the priestess here,
Myrna, and you know what? I'll help with this Church of Thor here to fight some giants.
protect the town.
And he's like, "What? I'm not going to leave you guys empty-handed."
So he
This was a weird session.
they went and got the new characters were Dean's new character Jesse.
They also got the
Aldrin's player's new character
Dimitri.
and you guys want to talk about that?
Should I take the lead?
Yeah, go right ahead, man.
So Dean randomly stumbles across this random warlock, spars with him, and he's like, "Hey, you're cool. Take all of my gear." So this man gets +1 armor and a +1 sword that can cast Cure Wounds twice for a long rest. Biggest mistake I've ever made. That'll definitely haunt my dreams.
We'll get to why that was the biggest. We'll get to why that was a big mistake in a bit.
And then my character is a slime person rogue, so I hid in this tiny vial on Dimitri's clothes. So they still had a replacement for Dean, but it's like an unwanted replacement because I'm the NPC. I'm the NPC rogue's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
So Rory,
Rory's ex-boyfriend.
Rory's ex-boyfriend, and super unwanted. Everyone already hates me a little, or indifferent to me. Because I immediately pop out and I do a horrible impression of like a British James from Pokemon. If you can.
Oh
imagine
god,
that.
I remember that.
So
Everyone. did that.
super over the top.
I'm gonna be frank. Did we hurt your feelings when we told you that you're that
No.
that was a terrible?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Not at all. I wanted to be
was
over the top, and I was ready for one of you to be like, dude, don't ever fucking do that again. So I wasn't gonna be butthurt about it. I was ready for some critical feedback.
ready. You're like, yeah, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, I was like, they're probably gonna hate this anyway. Goes on with the voice. Yeah, so
it was awful.
yeah, so the entirety of the session kind of dealt with recruiting the new person, which was Dimitri in this case, who was a half demon that was fully clothed, so we didn't know he was demon. Warlock, Pack of the Fiend, and Airblade.
No, he's
he had like a
Blade.
fiend.
He was a
whatever.
Hexblade. Just his patron was a
And then
devil.
he had a double patron named Perchkins, which I don't know if y'all talked about him earlier.
We
We
did
haven't
not.
talked-
We
we
had
did
a
not,
few
yeah.
run-ins with Perchkins in the past, just brief encounters where we
Yeah, because
met
our
Perchkins. Quite an
our
enjoyable
artificer friend poisoned him, sending him back to the Shadow Realm, and then he sent his little warlock after us to steal all of our shit eventually. Totally,
How did
not
I do
even
that again?
intentional. And so we're going through this recruitment process, and my character Jesse is just sitting in this little vial, hiding away, and then I get popped out, and disaster has only happened since then.
And I believe this is also where we got Eltic in, right?
It is where we got Eltic, yes.
Oh yeah, that's where we met Eltic too, the dwarven forge cleric. Because that was when Farhim decided, hey, scheduling issues, I can't.
Yeah, and this is where Farhim left.
Yeah, so we lost the gnome and we got a dwarf.
Basically, the
You know,
same
equal in height, yeah.
Yeah.
law of equivalent exchange.
Just, intelligence for wisdom kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right, same thing, really.
Yeah, so we got the forge cleric, Eltic. And in order to test out the new recruits, the group sort of went on a giant kill quest, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I'm super excited to show my stuff." And then Dimitri just got fucking
Clobbered.
He got clobbered, but the rest of the party seemed super confident.
Yeah, I was
Like,
super
yeah.
untouched. That crossbow expert came in handy. It's a
Yeah,
DPS.
Me too, I
Eltic
was
really
doing
showed
that.
what
I
was
just kept-
true.
yeah, Eltic fucking annihilated people.
Great. All I did was cast Fairy Fire and just like ran around the battlefield casting Cure Wounds to those who went down.
Support mode is
Came in
in.
handy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Rory.
dude.
Zoni's 100%
At this
a
point,
support
Rory
character.
has
I
been,
do
like-
like 2d6 damage. I do no damage, so I'm 100% support character.
Yeah. At this point, Rory hasn't been like helping that much in combat. Besides the fact that she's like a medic, she keeps stealing people's stealing people's money this entire time. And at this point, she's like, "Ooh, these people kind of suck. I'm gonna spend it on healing potions instead of clothes."
Why did Dean leave? We have a
Yeah.
DPS cleric.
Yeah. So we lost the DPS cleric, and we got another DPS cleric.
Yeah, we lost the DPS cleric that would heal every now and then, but like,
Now we get
You
a
know,
DPS
as a
cleric that
considerable
does
amount.
not heal.
exactly.
Zoni heals, but he does it so begrudgingly because he's so indifferent to most of the party. He only likes Hjorn and Alt. Everyone else is just a part of the party. So he just
Yeah.
kind of runs around like, sure. Like, throughout the entire hag fight, he was like casting healing word to get people up, and it would mostly just consist of "Get the fuck up, idiot!"
Yeah. The healing words.
running around
really was.
insulting people with healing words.
Yeah, that's a Zoni though, not Eltic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was only begrudgingly heals.
Yeah, and Eltic just sort of heals like, okay, you're like dying. I'll heal you now.
I guess I'll heal you.
Yeah. Otherwise, he uses all his spell slots on inflict wounds.
hmm
He does so much damage.
Yeah,
he just like corroded a giant.
Yeah, he like rotted a giant from the inside out. Afterwards, they were doing like a shipment. In order to like get a little bit of cash while traveling the same direction, they sort of did a shipment for one of the people in Fort Briskin after buying a shit ton of like magic armor and shit from them. Like Hjorn. At this point, Hjorn has a really good magic greatsword that
Oh,
the
yeah.
party
Oh yeah.
that the party all got together and pooled all their cash together to buy for him. And this sword has turned Hjorn into a fucking badass. Like
Hell yeah.
he is
Hjorn
like he is
backbone of the
like every single time Hjorn hasn't been able to make it for a session, the party struggles in combat. and then if
He's
and
such
then
a
if
tank.
Yeah, and then Hjorn comes back and he's just basically a howitzer. Like you cannot do anything to him.
I think Hjorn is
stop
like
him.
the ultimate jack of all trades. I'm
really is.
I do a
You have
lot of
Eldritch
damage.
Blast.
He's the
have-
jack of all trades in combat. Out of combat, he doesn't really do much.
True. I have one of my feats is spell sniper. So I have a 50 cal that is otherwise known as a double ranged Eldritch Blast. I do trick shots with that every now and again.
Basically
And,
every session.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage.
So like, it doesn't matter where you are, Hjorn can hit you.
Yeah, if he can see you, you are dead. Like
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Well, he can't deal as quite as much damage with Eldritch Blast, but he still can like hurt you. While if you're anywhere within like 30 feet, you're just dead.
Oh yeah, he'll
also,
fucking Misty
I
Step
have
up in
Misty
you.
Step. Yeah, I just.
Oh yeah, he can
I'm
teleport
very
too.
quick. A lot of
He's
things.
like he's big, strong, tanky, and he can teleport.
And
he's
he
like
heals.
So good.
and
This
he can
fool
heal
will be super tank. He'll lay on hands himself if he has to, which is most
Yeah,
of the time.
he will.
You're right.
That's what he does most of the time, actually. Like he'll save like one hit point of lay on hands, in to just in case, like an emergency sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Or like he'll save 5 in case like if it's poison, because if you expend 5, right, you can heal a poison or something.
You can if you
Yeah.
expend 1. If you just lay on hands even 1 point, you can get rid of poison.
Oh wow, I thought it was 5, but okay, good to know.
Yeah, I've played a couple paladins. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So you can hold on to like 1 point, and if some random dude gets poisoned, you can just slap him on the ass and he's good.
Yeah, that's exactly how Farhim used to cure
For
wounds.
him, yeah. Our entire party has some pretty reputable characters,
True.
Yeah,
like very memorable. In
every
their
single
own
one of
ways.
them. Yeah,
Even Almond.
even Almond. Yeah, Almond's pretty memorable.
So
Memorable.
what happened after this? This is where
The-
I kind of start getting fuzzy with what happened after we got.
There was
Eltic.
like a
I got
month
my,
in game where we did nothing
Oh, I know.
but level up.
Yeah.
Oh.
And in that month, I got 2 more skeletons. One of them
Oh, yeah.
was a really funny reoccurring enemy named Gut Puncher.
Oh
That
yeah,
was a zombie that we
Go.
just could not manage to kill.
good old gut puncher.
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
about. I
God.
completely forgot about
And
Gut
then-
Puncher.
And then didn't I gut some dude in the middle of town for your other one?
No, you guys killed some zombies and then just like took their flesh off.
Yeah, but it like took their.
Took the
I took
bones
one of the
out.
zombies' flesh off like in front of a ton of people. I was
Yeah,
like, I'm already
straight up
doing
in
it.
the
I was
middle.
like, it's already
Crazy.
happening.
Oh yeah. One more thing. What was it? There was. Oh yeah. During that month in game, basically a lot of people couldn't make it to a session, so we just had like a one shot between Eltic, Oni, and Almond. Was Almond? You were there for that one shot, right? Oh yeah, because Almond just hopped into the VC now because he's wondering what we were doing. So Almond, what were you there for the one shot where Eltic and Oni fought a giant, not a giant bird, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were there.
I threw the black bottle at the bird and made it featherless.
Yeah. Okay, so
What?
basically, during this month,
Rory, Alman, Eltic, and Oni had found a treasure map.
and what they did was they followed the treasure map up until like a mountain that was north of Light Tower. And so they went up the mountain, they fought a giant bird and got some treasure from it. And it was interesting. They didn't climb up the mountain traditionally. What ended up happening is Eltic got in the bag of holding. And they had 2 bags of holding at this point because Rory had one, and I think who else had one?
Oni had one.
Yeah, Oni had one. What happened was Eltic would get in a bag of holding, Rory would get in another one. Almond's an air genasi, so he can cast levitate on himself, and he just cast levitate. So what happened was Almond just levitated up the mountain.
Wow.
and afterward, and how Oni got up was he just like cast minute meteors, and he stood on top of the meteors and threw them up the mountain. So he basically gnome rocketed himself up the mountain while standing on a rock.
This is pretty intuitive. This is my first time hearing of this, by the way.
Yeah, you guys weren't
Yeah,
here, and we kept
I
this whole
never
session
heard
secret
about
because
the
of
one
something they
shot.
got. They wanted to keep what they got secret.
Oh, that piggy bank
Yeah, the piggy bank.
that we ran into later. I see.
Yeah. So
It took like a week to get up the mountain.
yeah, it took like a week, but it took a week, but it didn't require any effort. Like they didn't climb at all. They just kept using their spells. It was
What a way to do it.
yeah, it was pretty effective. And
They got up to the top, they killed a rock, which is like a giant bird.
they took all the treasure and they loaded it up on Candela and put it in the bags of holding and then sold it all for
Love
cash.
Candela.
Sold it all for cash and then put all the cash in the piggy bank that now Rory
We-
holds.
We went over Candela, right? Earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We went over Candela. How you acquired Candela.
My baby.
Your elephant.
My child.
Yeah, and Hamilton. We have Hamilton and Kendall at this point. At this point, Hamilton has eaten so many dogs.
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
Like, he's eaten a lot of household pets, and it's just... They just keep
He's a
leaving him
menace.
unattended for, and they're like, you know what, it's fine. It's fine.
He's getting bigger. He's getting in fit
He's
fighting
going
shape.
strong.
Yeah, he's like almost 2 months old at this point. Like 2 months since you
Oh
got
my
him.
god.
So he's about 5 months old at this point.
Dang.
Yeah. He's
This
getting
man's
big.
just vibing.
So what happened after the one shot?
After the one shot, that's when you guys started traveling down to Port Monogamy to hire passes
yeah.
because you guys got the letter to go to Wishkin
Yep.
and work for like some sort of noble family or something. You were promised that the oh god, you were promised that the pay would be worth it.
Forgot.
Yeah, so you started going
That
there,
rock-
and
Yeah.
you met a goblin who was
Oh,
stealing your
God.
stuff. And
that's why earlier I said that I had a dragon dagger.
Wait, a
yeah,
goblin stole one of the dragon daggers.
no. What
I
happened?
gave it to
We
him.
tortured him.
So what happened
I remember
was
that. Oh my god.
It almost killed us all.
what happened was the party sort of caught the goblin, and they were gonna like beat the shit.
Yeah, I tracked this motherfucker down. I was gonna like pay him in food just to be like an extra body.
Yeah, they were gonna like hire him, but then Zoni's like, well, if he's weak, then we shouldn't hire him. So he gave him the dagger to see if he was weak or not. The goblin,
The cursed dragon dagger.
The
that we
cursed
got earlier,
dragon
to be
dagger.
specific.
Yeah.
one of the- I think you guys have 3 at this point, don't
Yeah, I
you?
think we have 3.
Yeah, I don't
3,
know
yeah.
where I don't remember where you got the 3rd.
I honestly don't either.
Yeah, 1 from the Oni, 1 from the bandits, and I think you got 1 from the hag.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yo, yeah, the hag. It was the
yeah,
hag.
the hag had that altar to the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, so the daggers are like all. At this point, they've all learned that the daggers are sort of keys to a vault from a long time ago, where there's like an ancient black dragon that was sealed away. And the daggers are supposed to open it. But they also have like curses on them and shit. So they gave the cursed dagger to the goblin. The goblin failed the saving throw, and then turned into this awful half dragon, half goblin thing. And then summoned a bunch of black Abishai from hell, and then the party had to fight these Abishai and this fucking insane goblin. And Hjorn wasn't here at this point, and the party was not doing well.
Oh yeah, we're getting blinded the entire time. Like they can see through the blinds and we can't.
Like they were like the Abishai are devil creatures, so they have devil sight, and they have one of their traits is that they can cast darkness like an infinite amount of times, and they can move the darkness around. So what the Abishai were doing is just casting darkness on everybody and making sure that the spellcasters couldn't target the Abishai with spells. Yeah, it was a tough thing, and then Hjorn
Yeah.
sort of woke up.
Yeah, I was on vacation, and then I joined in just to say what's up, and then they were like, "Hey, we need you." And I was like, "Oh,
We're like,
okay."
"Hjorn!"
It was not like a calm "we need you." It was like, "Oh God, Hjorn, please, we need you."
I was screaming. I was most definitely screaming. I was like, "Hjorn, please!"
So
I'm sure that's how
hopped
it went
in and
down.
I didn't do much,
definitely
but
don't.
it was enough to save the day.
Yeah. So Hjorn then jumped in the encounter. We said that he just woke up from his nap.
Yeah,
And-
like this motherfucker like bifrosts in.
Yeah, it's just it was a pretty fun encounter. Like everybody got to do some pretty cool shit. Izoni polymorphed.
First time.
Izoni fucking
Oh,
polymorphed
yeah.
Jesse into a gorilla.
And I have this like
Little
bowler
top
hat.
Oh,
I got like
bowler hat.
this little bowler hat on my fucking big ass ape looking motherfucker. Oh man.
It was like
Yeah,
imagine
yeah.
Harambe, but he has like a mafia head. It was awesome.
Yeah, I got to hit him like twice and then I got immediately turned back.
But
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
it was
not
pretty
that
cool
fun.
being a gorilla.
Yeah, I took
Almond
like
was-
100 something damage for the party. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
Almond left his
So
juice with
much.
mysterious liquid.
Oh yeah, you teleported like 20 feet because you drank that potion.
Oh yeah, he could teleport like 20 feet
Yeah.
as a bonus
right?
action, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was nuts.
It was
was
pretty good. So Almond basically has been stocking up like these potions that have a random effect every single time you drink them. He just keeps drinking them at random times.
They do
and
nothing but good.
so far.
They've not been bad.
Well,
Well, actually,
the first
Oni almost
time-
died.
Yeah, Oni drank one. That was the first time you guys came across them, and he drank one, and he took like 30 necrotic damage.
Oh my god. I'm telling you, that discount magic item shop has been amazing. The Ring of Self-Destruction has not failed me.
To be fair, you've only used it once. To be
Yeah,
fair.
I have a second one. We are in possession of a second one. And then you gave your other campaign one, and I was like, ooh.
Oh yeah. Party 3 Electric Boogaloo. They don't have a name yet, but they found one. Yeah, so then after fighting the Black Abishai, they got into Port Monogamy. They hired the captain, Fletch Kicker, to take them by boat all the way to Port Wishkin, which is this other, which is a really large city that is very far away, so they decided to go by boat to make it faster. They met Fletch's crew, which consisted of Fletch himself. He's a Sun Wiccan, which is like a Sun Witch. There was Bennett, which is like this grumpy old Otterfold, which is another homebrew race. Who Fletch doesn't seem very competent as a captain, but Bennett seems to be holding the whole ship together. They met the Surgeon, which is like this Warforged wizard. And the one that interacted with the party the most was Dances with Whales, which is like this black tabaxi swashbuckler guy. And he just made a lot of jokes, and he was the funnest one. They were at sea for like quite a while, and then quite a while, and then they met a dragon.
Oh,
Can somebody
this
tell
shit.
me part of the story? I've been talking for a while.
So,
I wasn't there.
I forgot who was doing what.
I was downstairs and I
It was
found a
Almond.
mouse.
Almond was downstairs looking for something, and then he had to do a perception check.
I'm sorry, it wasn't me. It was Dimitri. He was talking to his patron.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Yes. Dimitri, who was Aldrin's new character, went down to the bottom of the ship to have a secret conversation with his patron, and while doing so, he rolled a perception check and stumbled upon a silver, metallic
Bronze.
bronze mouse. And everyone was like, okay, what do we do with this mouse? We tried talking to the mouse. The mouse was not being very cooperative. We brought it up and showed it to the captain. The captain then, at that point, became very, very stressed out and was like, get that off my ship right now. So he threw the copper mouse into the water, and it turned into a dragon. Yeah. That's how we met a dragon. And then the dragon was telling us that it was in the bottom of the ship because it was looking for stuff to trade. And it was like, hey, do you guys want to trade? And then everyone was like, you know what? I've never traded with a dragon. So yeah, I think I would want to trade. And we wanted to trade with the dragon. So a few of us left down and followed the dragon. A few of us rode the dragon. Some people, like Eltic, opted to jump into the water and sink very fast since he had very heavy iron armor. And followed the dragon. Yeah, and he's a dwarf. We followed the dragon deep underwater into its lair. We go in, and it was very extravagant, classic dragon lair, filled with gold, had art, a bunch of cool stuff. We actually learned during this that the dragon was into trading card games, like Magic the Gathering. Kind of cool. Had a very rare one of the type cards. And then another thing that we found that we were interested in trading for was the weapons stash area. And we saw this big vault of really a whole collection of these really rare
Legendary.
weapons. They were legendary weapons, axes,
Powerful.
swords, everything in the book. And so we decided, let's take a look around. We started taking a look around. Saw a fire sword, for example. It's pretty cool. And another sword that we saw was the legendary 9 Lives Stealer, which was a sword crafted by the Lich. And it was a very evil sword. Used to do some very evil things that the dragon had in its vault.
Can I talk about that?
Go
Yeah.
for it. You can take over.
So, our warlock guy, right, is staring pretty heavily at the sword, and I just so happen to wake up and join the session right when this happens. And I wake up, I'm chilling in this little vial that I'd popped out way long ago, and he's like, "Hey, pick this lock for me." And I'm like,
This was
stealing
Dimitri who wanted to
shit.
pick the lock to be.
yeah, Dimitri tried to pick it, fucked up, and then I literally join, and I fail the first time. I get my arm kind of chopped off because I try to throw my arm in there to pick the lock because I'm a goo man. So I was like trying to fit my hand perfectly. It didn't work very well. So then I go in with my thieves' tools, pick it open, and all items and stuff on me shrink when I go into my liquid form. So I grab the sword for him, take it with me. He then casts, what was it, Minor Illusion, to
Major image.
or major image to put a replica of the sword. Perfect plan. I go to lock the case. This dude is like, no. Grabs the fire sword, takes it to the dragon, and is like, hey, I'm willing to trade for this. Forcing the dragon to grab the sword, walk back to the case, notices that, my blind sense is fucking telling me the sword is gone. Immediately electric breaths us. I have to flip out of the vial holding the sword. Immediately roll deception to say I have nothing to do with it. Drop the sword. Dimitri then picks it up, tries to fight the dragon, gets murdered, and because of his patron, all of his belongings go to hell with him, including this very powerful Lich-created sword, the 9 Lives Stealer, just taken straight to the plane of greed with him, including all of Dean's amazing shit that he also gave him, just straight to hell. And his patron gets a hold of this fucking crazy OP sword. Jesse's on the brink of death. he got lightning breath like twice. Luckily, I'm a rogue, so I was able to evade it. And this fool is the worst thief ever. Like, literally would have gotten away with it if he didn't grab the firebrand and force the dragon, or firebrand.
Flame tongue.
The flame tongue, thank you. If he didn't grab the flame tongue and give it to the dragon, that sword would have been his.
Yeah,
But no,
and then
literally almost got us all killed.
And then Dimitri died. So that's 2 characters that have died in fairly quick succession for Dimitri's player. Yeah, that's about where we left off. During that encounter.
The first death was actually kind of sad, but this one was just hilarious.
It's
It
just
was
stupid.
very deserved.
That too.
During this whole dragon encounter, I was now here's something very important. The bronze dragon, very very polite, is a woman named Beetle, who is kind of hot, to be real.
Her human form you're attracted to.
Her human form of the dragon. Let me be specific. Hjorn isn't really into dragon forms, but pretty hot human. So Hjorn has been flirting with the human form of the dragon. Once Dimitri died and the 9 Lives Stealer went to hell with Perchkins, his patron, we gave the dragon our orb. If you can recall, the magic orb that we got from the hag that we were supposed to give back to Cyan, from our original town, who is also a dragon, by the way. We instead gave it to Beetle, the very nice and polite dragon, and pretended to patch things up and that everything was okay, even though a legendary sword went to hell. And I slid into the dragon's DMs by getting half of a, what's it called? Ascending stone?
Yeah.
I got half of Ascending Stone, so I can talk directly to Beetle whenever I choose, and then
as long as you're on the same plane of existence.
Yes, as long as and ever since then, I've been chatting it up with her, and that was when we took our big hiatus.
Yeah, that's where we left off.
Can I backtrack a little about the whole orb thing? So
yeah.
Dean found the orb, very fond of Cyan because he gave him the cool sword, was like, hey, make sure to give this back to Cyan, right? Gives it to Rory. Rory then gives it to Hjorn, I think. And then Dean leaves. They don't give the orb to Cyan for whatever fucking reason. Take it to the dragon. We then learn that Cyan is actually bad and evil and has been missing for like 100 years or some, maybe longer. And keep in mind, when Dean does come back, he knows none of this shit. So I know shit's gonna go down the moment he shows up.
Okay,
but
well, to be
very important
realistic,
information.
We kind of fucked up with the dragon. And
yeah, I mean, it was a fair trade, but we were supposed to give it to Cyan.
Yeah, well,
what can you do?
Yeah.
Now we have a very evil mob boss and probably a dragon on our asses.
From the same town.
From the same town.
So if we ever go to Light Tower...
Well, no, Cyan's from Belden.
Well, Cyan's Belden, yeah.
But they're pretty close together.
If we ever go to that area, we might need to be careful.
That whole countryside, besides the Dryads, is not chill with us.
The entire tri-state area.
The whole tri-state area.
Gotta say, we're not really loved.
And the ocean.
Some of us
and the
are.
ocean. Guys, the ocean doesn't really like you
And
either.
the ocean. Oh yeah, that dragon is pissed.
Hey.
Beetle is pissed.
Dragon's pissed at everyone but me. You already know.
I didn't do
I
anything.
suppose.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Beetle liked Almond too, because Almond had the fucking dragon sword.
True.
That's true.
We've barely explored any of the characters' backstories at all.
I feel like we should have scripted this.
You know what? This is better though. Alright, so just a brief description of everyone's characters. So like Almond, could you like give me the basic rundown of Almond?
Okay, Almond is alright, let's start off with Almond is an air genasi. Early 20s. He's an escaped slave who found an ancient sword that has a dragon soul trapped in it.
Yeah, and that dragon soul's like all four, and he used to be like this very powerful dragon, like almost godlike figure among dragons a long time ago.
Dragon Jesus.
Basically, that's what Beetle referred to him as, Dragon Jesus.
Dragon.
Yeah, and yeah, Almond just sort of travels with the party. Can we get a basic rundown of Hjorn?
Yeah, so Hjorn is a nature Goliath paladin guy. He's Oath of the Ancients. He loves plants. Druids, he loves them. Man, he loves druids. They're like prophets to him. He's pretty nice, kind of a Chad, and sometimes questionable. He has questionable morals. Yeah, that's about it. Big man.
Yeah, he's big. He's quite big.
7 foot. He's like late 20s, 7 foot something.
Who doesn't know
7
Giant,
foot
by the
6
way?
probably.
Who does? Yeah, he doesn't speak giant, by the way.
Yeah, I don't speak giant.
He should, but we have like this thing in our. I have this thing in my games where I basically
Kind of copied XP to level 3 on YouTube, where intelligence
modifiers also grant you extra proficiencies, and they also take away proficiencies. So
Yeah.
Hjorn had a 9 in intelligence.
That's a -1
It says a
modifier.
-1, so he just lost his ability to speak giant.
Yeah, he's not the smartest, not the brightest.
I have a +2 to intelligence. I didn't know.
So, can we get a basic rundown of Zoni then?
Yeah, sure. So Izoni's a pretty old druid, almost 400 years old. So for druid, he's about middle-aged. Or well, he was middle-aged because
For an elf, you mean, like, not a druid.
oh right, an elf. Sorry. For an elf, he's middle-aged, and he was middle-aged because, as I stated earlier, Izoni is undead. Izoni died because there is a disease ravaging his village, and that's kind of his biggest motivator. He died. He got buried in an ancient overworld that was filled with a bunch of magic from the decades of prior elves, and that was able to resuscitate him and fill him with the spores of such a place. So he's a spores druid, smells like mildew, not the most gentle of people. But he's undead, and he's with the party trying to just get stronger so that he can either cure the disease afflicting his village or push his people past life, you know, give them that undeath so that they don't have to work like he does.
Yeah.
So he's a really weird druid. He's not a very druidic druid.
He's like a
effectively
necromancer druid.
straight up, yeah.
Yeah, because he has like this squad of skeletons that we call the Skeleton Squad. For some reason, I don't know why we call it that.
Because we
With his
couldn't come up with
captain,
any other name.
Rex.
What?
Yeah, the first one was Rex.
With its Captain Rex.
Oh yeah, Captain Rex.
Sure.
Rex was the first skeleton,
Yeah, Rex is my favorite.
and there was Rex and Gut Puncher, and those are the only two named skeletons.
Yeah, because then it's just the third one, and then the goblin.
Yeah, the Goblin. They also, after the Goblin and Avishai fight, they just resurrected the Goblin.
Yeah.
And I
Well, they didn't resurrect him,
internal
they
torture.
animated him.
remembered his past life, took his head.
Yeah. Yeah, can we get a basic rundown of Jesse and Dean? Because Dean, we've established that Dean is going to come back eventually.
Oh, most definitely. So Dean, I'll give first. Dean is the only one without like a super tragic backstory, apparently. So
Yeah.
Dean was born and raised in the town of Belden, the same one with Cyan, and he had he's a human. I gave him the magic initiate feat to give him a couple more lightning spells and like shocking grasp and then also witch bolt. So at a very young age, I described it as him being, elementally adapt to lightning, thus joining the Church of Thor to learn clericsy. So in combat, he could heal, but also do severe amounts of DPS when needed. And he has a hermit background.
What do you mean when needed? That's like all he did.
Well, DPS is useful, so when needed, it's always needed. Am I right?
I guess so.
But so he's kind of a nobody, but he's got a very kind heart, and he's kind of a simp for Rory, just a little because he's nice. He even went to the level of, this one use ring of self-destruction that focuses fireball on myself. I'm going to use it to blow up this tavern so we free you from this metaphorical prison. Which also so happened to free Jesse, which I guess I'll get into now. Jesse is what is the race exactly called?
Slime folk.
It's just slime folk? Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't get it wrong. So he's a slime folk, and he's completely immune to fire. So this man just gets fireballed point blank, and he's like, alright, I'm out of here. Dips, eventually runs into Dimitri, does that whole thing. But he's a slime folk rogue, and this man can like slip through cracks. He can fill tiny gaps. He's also really good at being invisible in water, and has a swim speed of 60 feet. So he's kind of a masterclass assassin and detective. So he's also very good at tracking things down. And so this dude, he's just madly in love with Rory. This is kind of whole thing. This one's the real simp. This is the simp.
Yeah.
Both of your characters have just been Sims for my NPC.
Pretty much. The first one, not even really simping, just being a good dude, and then this one is definitely simping. But he's got the crossbow expert feat, so he's not a big melee dude, but he can definitely get up close and personal due to the crossbow expert feat, which is really nice. Yeah, that's both of them.
All right. We don't have Oni here at the moment. He's online, but he's not here. So we'll it's not really, his character doesn't really need a basic rundown. He's the typical stereotypical I cast fireball guy.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
But that's fine. That's what the party needs at the moment. Because, you know, fireball is the answer to all problems.
Sir, yes, sir.
So, yeah, that's
chaotic
everything.
as
It's the best spell ever. But anyway, that's
Where we're going to leave this off. We are going to be starting our first episode this Saturday, which is the 12th, I think.
Yes, the 12th.
yeah, so the 12th, and I'll be editing it the next day, so it might be available on either Sunday or Monday, depending on how much editing I do. But
Hey, that is, if everyone shows up, you bastards, you better show up.
yeah, you better show
coming.
up.
Gonna-
I told my work, hey, I don't give a shit. You can't call me in. I am getting off work at 2, and I'm getting home, and I'm waiting for that session.
Nice.
I
Just
called
don't
off.
do anything. You have to just sit at your computer and just wait.
I'm sitting waiting for the notification on my phone in complete darkness.
Like you're just
Until-
the blinds. You're like in a closet.
Yeah, pretty much. Like nothing is stopping me. Not even the sun itself. You know?
All right.
Like
That's amazing.
I'm getting to the session.
Alrighty.
the phone
So
finally gets a notification, and it's just a slight outline of Dean in the darkness.
yeah.
Yeah, like that one picture I have of him in that kind of like chibi style, I just like make it a silhouette and black everything out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
and
That should be your,
and
that
put
should
like
be
an
on your
outlet of
profile
it.
picture. All right.
Just
Well,
and then
I'm
like a
gonna.
silhouette of a couch.
All right. Well, I'm gonna quit the recording now and get to editing this. So.
Sick.